We begin at the White House, where the controversy over unreleased Epstein files is forcing President Trump to take action. The president has ordered Attorney General Pam Bondi to release some grand jury testimony in the case against Epstein, who died in jail back in 2019. The controversy grew after the Justice Department released its findings on the review of the evidence. It found that Epstein did not have a client list and no additional files were released in the case. Now, this set off calls for more transparency, even from loyal Trump supporters. So just before Trump's push to release the grand jury testimony, he denied a Wall Street Journal report. That report said he sent a, quote, body birthday letter to Epstein featuring the drawing of a naked woman. Trump says the letter is fake and he threatened to sue the newspaper. Let's get to the White House and CBS News reporter Olivia. Rinaldi. Olivia, good to see you on a Friday. Can you walk us through what the Wall Street Journal is reporting and the president's reaction to it?
Well, Mugo, it's good to be with you. The president is calling this a fake story, and as you noted in the intro there, threatening to sue the Wall Street Journal and their parent company, which is owned by Rupert Murdoch, who we should note was a former ally of the president, someone who the president was close with over the last several years of his first administration. So the Wall Street Journal is reporting that back in 2003, for Jeffrey Epstein, the convicted sex offender, for his 50th birthday, that he was gifted a book that contained letters. And one of the letters was from Donald Trump. And in that letter, apparently President Trump had said, "Happy birthday," and, quote, "may every day be another secret." Now, the president is denying this letter, and in a Truth Social post called it a fake letter, saying that supposedly to Epstein, he said, "These are not my words, not the way I talk. I don't draw pictures." The president also said that he told Rupert Murdoch not to print this, but he did anyways, and therefore he's going to sue. Earlier today, the president said he looks forward to getting, actually, Mr. Murdoch to testify in this lawsuit against him, called his the Wall Street Journal a, quote, pile of garbage, and saying that that testimony would be an interesting experience. So all of this about this alleged letter in the Wall Street Journal, we should note we have not independently seen this letter or been able to verify its authenticity. But the White House is also saying that they were not able to see this letter either. Caroline Leavitt weighed in earlier this morning, saying they asked to see the letter and they weren't able to. So, Mugo, a lot to note here, but basically, long story short, this is part of the groundswell of unhappiness about how this administration has handled the so-called Epstein files. We know that Trump supporters have been upset at the way it's been handled. They say they were promised a list, they were not given the list, and this administration is asking them to move on from this scandal. So, and they don't want to. They want to see that list. Voters I talked with yesterday in Pennsylvania told me as much. So we'll have to see how this goes forward in the coming weeks and whether or not the White House can tamp down any concern about the Epstein files from their own base.
Yeah, it seems like tamping down those concerns is why the president is saying, let's release some of that Epstein grand jury testimony. But then the question is, does the White House actually believe that releasing this will end this Epstein controversy for the president?
You know, it's a good question. It's kind of a way to tell them we're working on this, right? It's a way to tell his supporters, kind of an olive branch to them, like, yeah, I've asked for everything to be released. So we do know that Attorney General Pam Bondi is going to ask for any pertinent grand jury testimony to be given publicly. The problem is that needs court approval, and that process can take a while. So this is not something that is going to be snap of the fingers released to the public if they're going the route of getting it publicized through the court system, this grand jury testimony that they believe would help answer some of the outstanding questions that Trump supporters and people who are interested in these files still have. This is not a solution that will be solved tomorrow, but in a way kind of extends that olive branch to Trump supporters that are still concerned and still want to see the list. So tying it up in further litigation as this case continues to play out in the public sphere.
We'll see if this next step gives those Trump supporters the answers or the comfort they're looking for when it comes to this case. Olivia Rinaldi at the White House for us today. Thank you so much for your time and happy Friday to you. Now, as we just mentioned, Attorney General Pam Bondi says she is ready to to move the court today to unseal the documents following President Trump's order. But a judge will still need to make a decision on if the material can be released. So let's bring in CBS News Justice correspondent Scott MacFarlane. Scott, what is this process? What is the process to release the grand jury transcripts look like? And just how long should the public expect to wait before they can actually see it?
Generally speaking, this is not unprecedented. We've seen this in other cases where some third party wants to try to unseal grand jury transcripts. It's often a painstaking process, takes months. Some other lawyers want to get involved. Sometimes it's media consortiums who do it. In fact, it's underway right now here in Washington, D.C. There's been an effort to unseal some of the grand jury transcripts in some of the 2020 election investigations. And we are here in 2025. It's not done yet. So some of this can be time consuming. That being said, the Attorney General could have done this already. She didn't need the president's authorization to go ahead and request these grand jury transcripts. We're monitoring for any filings in the court, but in this case, in this high-profile case where the Attorney General made a public declaration she's about to do something, it's quite possible she publicly announces or releases the court filings, not just to the court.
I want to ask this because Trump asked for pertinent information to be released, but who gets to make the call on exactly what that pertinent information is?
Yeah, it's quite an important word you've keyed in on there. It can be the Attorney General who determines what she wants to request, and she can help select certain parts of whatever's out there for court approval. It could be the judge who decides what's relevant for release or what's legal and lawful for release. But the bigger issue there, I think, is the political one right now until we see filings, because the president is trying to quell some of the publicity and some of the kickback he's getting from his own most ardent supporters. We'll see if selected court transcripts do the trick.
Yeah, and that was really going to be my next question. Is this going to be enough for all those Trump supporters who say they want more answers, who are expecting to see this client list? Will releasing this grand jury testimony be enough for them?
Well, you've seen over the past 24 hours, maybe the last 12 hours since he actually made the announcement on Truth Social, that some of his most ardent podcast hosts, conservative activists, have said that this was something that's either moving in the right direction or they have given public statements of support. But that may be short-lived because you're not going to get a public release of records anytime soon, not likely. So we'll see if that restive coalition of people who want to see more about the Jeffrey Epstein investigation get agitated again.
We shall wait and see. Scott MacFarlane, thank you so much for your time today.